Hang in
Dude,
there. It
that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. We have an incredible guest today. We have the Charles Barkley joining. I feel like I need to do like a starting lineup intro from Leeds, Alabama. We have Charles Barkley joining the program. Charles, a couple Birmingham guys. How about this?
Yeah, man, we doing pretty good for a couple homeboys from Alabama. I don't talk about Birmingham, man. I'm from Leeds. I got to give Leeds their flowers. You know that I used to get to Oregon back in the day when I was at Auburn. They used to try to say I was from Birmingham. I said, "Yo, man, I'm gonna say this for the last time. I'm from Leeds." My man Jim Fife from back in the day, he says, "I understand." So, man, but you know what? You know, it's been incredible, Smylie, to be honest with you. I think about growing up in Leeds and how the best decision I ever made was going to Auburn because I got an opportunity to play right away. Mm-hmm. That was probably the best decision I ever made, you know, because it was going to be Alabama, UAB, Alabama, or Auburn. And all three of them are great schools, but man, going to Auburn was the best decision from a basketball standpoint and number one from a life standpoint. Because once you go to Auburn, you're part of a family for life. But it was such a cool thing to get to play right away. You know, it's so funny. You got all this going on today with the transfer portal. Did you know who was there before you went there? I said, you just wasted. I said, you just wasted. I said, because it's the number one thing I tell kids. I said, that's going to be the number one, the first time you're away from home, okay? And if you don't get to play the sport that you've been a stud in your whole life, college is going to suck. And you go there and you're like, oh, the guy in front of me is like really, really good.
That's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. I said, did you look at, when I went to UAB, because it's closest.
Sure.
Then I went to Tuscaloosa. Auburn was the furthest away, but when I was there, I was like, okay, I'm not betting that guy. I'm not betting that guy. Okay, I'm not betting that guy. I'm not betting that guy. Oh, yeah, I'm betting all these guys. But I tell guys, I say, yo, man, I don't want to hear the education aspect. Because if you want to educate, you can get it. All of them are great schools. Any college is a great school if you want to put your mind to it. But I say, as a player, that's the first time you're going to be away from home. And if you don't get to play, college is going to suck. But it's going to screw up your grades anyway. Because if you're a stud in high school and you go to college and you're a long way from home and not getting to play, it's going to affect your grades.
It's crazy how much just college athletics, NIL, it's all changed. And Auburn University, it's crazy to me how really the Auburn basketball program, what it's done under Bruce Pearl too. I know we didn't come on to talk about Auburn basketball, but
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I'm surrounded by Auburn people in my house. My daughter's a diehard Auburn fan. My wife obviously cheered at Auburn, so I'm surrounded by it here, man, from an LSU Tiger.
Well, you married up. First and foremost,
That's fair. Outkicked my coverage.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. As much as I love Auburn, I never thought Auburn would go to the Final Four. I thought we'd have some, because we'd never been. And now we've been 2 times in like 5 years. I got nothing but love and respect for Bruce Pearl. I admire him. I respect him. He cares about his kids. But, man, what he has done for the Auburn basketball program has just been incredible. I mean, and I get lucky because, you know, I had never been to March Madness before until I started working the tournament. And I'll say this, I was blessed to go to the Olympics twice. The Olympics are the best thing I've ever been to in my life. And I tell you, if you really say you're a sports fan, there's 2 things you got to do in your life. You got to go to the Olympics as a fan, and you got to go to the Final Four. I tell people, they're the 2 most amazing things. And then I think it was 5 years ago, somewhere in there, Auburn's at the Final Four. I never thought in my wildest dream we'd be at the Final Four. And then last year we go back again, and I didn't think we could beat Florida. I thought Florida was the best team. I mean, all the Auburn people got mad at me. I said, well, I got y'all going to the Final Four. I just don't think anybody can beat Florida. I said, it's not my job to get on TV and just pick the homer teams. I said, we got Kenny for that. Kenny picks North Carolina. Yeah, Kenny picks North Carolina every year, and he's never been right. So, but you know, man, Bruce Pearl, him and his staff, Steve, his son, and the guys, Marquise. I just got a lot of love. Ira, I just got a lot of love and respect for those guys. And, you know, it's so screwed up the way it is now, Smylie. You're going to have a different team every year, and, you know, kids are just going to the highest bidder now, so you don't know what players you're going to have until the season starts. You know, I played golf with Coach Saban recently, and that guy, I admire and respect the hell out of him, but he's the greatest college football coach ever. And, you know, just talk about ways to fix the sport. I don't know what you're going to do, because I don't know how you're going to be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Mm-hmm. And you know, I said, he was picking my brain, and because I want to fix it, because my thing is, we have screwed up college sports for like 1% of the players who probably should be getting paid.
Yeah, they definitely.
But the other 99% are getting a free education, which is the most important aspect from where I look at it, because most of these kids are black kids, and I want them to get that free education because it's a big deal. But because some guys were not getting paid, and I'm not opposed to players getting paid, but not the numbers they're getting paid, because that's an unsustainable business model. To come up with $10, $20, $30 million every year. And basketball, the thing that sucks about basketball, Smylie, if I'm going to pay, I have to pay a kid millions of dollars to be at Auburn for 6 months. I'm not getting any return on my investment. That makes zero sense. At least in football, you get a great player. You can pay him for 3 years. He's there. But to pay a basketball player millions of dollars to be at Auburn for 6 months, and Cooper Flagg is amazing. Like, he got Duke to the final. He got Duke to the Final Four, which is incredible. But they didn't. If you're gonna pay guys millions and millions of dollars, you got to at least get a championship out of it. And he wanted.
You can't guarantee it.
You can't guarantee it, and he is phenomenal. I cannot wait to see Cooper Flagg in the NBA. And they had a bunch of NBA players. I think, forget the kid from. He went to Charlotte. Can't think his name. You had the kid who went to the Sun. They had 3 NBA players, and they didn't even win the whole thing. So I just don't understand how we're gonna fix this thing. It's gonna be very interesting in the next few years.
Well, even too, the last thing I'll kind of touch on with this college and NBA stuff too is that you have a player like Chad Baker-Mazara, who's one of the best players at Auburn over the last couple of years. He obviously was up for a renegotiation process, ends up taking more money or allegedly takes more money and goes to USC. Reminder that he's a player that's 25 years old, the same age as Zion Williamson, who's just finishing up his 5th year in the NBA. So all of a sudden you have these super seniors that are taking advantage of the system by making more money in college. Because is Chad Baker-Mazara going to be a good pro? Maybe. Doubtful? I don't know, but there's plenty of really, really good college players that aren't going to be pros that are just maximizing the amount of money that they can make in their career, which would you blame them? Probably not.
Well, I blame the NCAA for that. Listen, man, we got some guys that had COVID for like 5 years now. Listen, I think there should be a max you can be in college, probably 5 years. You can't stay in college forever. Even if you're making money, I don't think it's fair. You can't have 25-year-olds playing against 17, 18-year-olds. I don't think that's healthy. I mean, the COVID thing is over, first and foremost. But there's 2 problems to this whole thing. Think about this, Smylie. Every sports league in the world, in the entire world, think about that. Overseas, wherever. College sports is the only league in the world that don't have a salary cap. That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah.
Every single sports league in the world has a salary cap, except the NBA, the NIL. That's the first problem. And secondly, they get to if people get to renegotiate, I want to renegotiate every year. I would love.
Me too.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
College football can't allow Notre Dame to have the type of, year they have and schedule they have, and honestly put them up against other teams. Because Notre Dame looks like they're going to be a decent football team. They could lose, I think, next week to Texas A&M, Joe, who I don't think is a great football team, but still a ranked team, and then run the table and still be in the playoff and absolutely beat nobody. The worst schedule I may have ever seen in college football is Notre Dame this year.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Quarterback or coach has to answer for it.
Right.
Goff, Campbell. Listen, I'm not firing Dan Campbell already. I might be shipping Goff. I don't know, but I think the Lions. Again, it's week 1. Are we overreacting? I think the panic meter in Detroit is blaring. I think people are wondering, when do the Pistons start?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Every person listening to this podcast in the world, like, say, can I go to my boss every year and say another company offer me more money? That doesn't make sense, whatever. That makes zero sense. So, and then I know the first thing people say, well, we got to have a salary cap. I said, well, that sounds good, but if I'm the big schools, I don't want a salary cap.
No, you want your advantage.
Why do I want a level playing field? So everybody's not in the same situation. So, man, I want to fix it so bad. And everybody said, we want to fix it. I says, I want to fix it too. But it's not that simple. Because like I say, they said that Ohio State spent $20 million on transfers last year, and they won the championship. So why would they want a salary cap? Because somebody else going to pay that much money this year and next year and the year after. And the thing is, the number's only going to go up. But it's just an unsustainable business model. But also, if we keep, number one, they're going to start cutting from other sports, especially the women's sports.
Yeah.
And also, and some of these smaller schools, they're just going to be like a minor league system.
It's messed up.
Yeah. So... I want to fix it, but I just don't know how it's going to be done. It's not that simple.
It's definitely going to be tough to figure out. Maybe you and Coach Saban continue to play some more golf and y'all can figure it out on the links, because it's going to be one that's tricky. And then you have other players too. You talk about the renegotiation process. What about the players that you want return on investment from that turns out they suck? Those are the players you're like, oh God, I can't believe we spent $1 million on this guy and he can't throw a forward pass. That's the other side of the coin.
Well, when I start getting ready, the way I do my schedule is I really don't, unless I'm just sitting around, I don't watch a lot of college basketball like the first couple months. So it's like October, November, December, I get ready for that's the NBA. I say, okay, I'm going to watch the only NBA right now because I got to concentrate. But I've seen each team play probably 5 or 6 times. You know who's good, who's bad. You know what it's going to come down to. But starting January the 1st, I watch about 3 or 4 college games a day. We get a report every week on every conference. But when I'm reading some of the stuff, to piggyback on your point, some of these young kids are getting harassed because they took so much money to go to a certain school. And, you don't know. If somebody offer you more money, you have to factor in, wow, there's a big difference between the South, Midland South, and the SEC, the Sun Belt, the ACC. Yeah. So when you pay these players to move up to high-level competition, and they're not as good. Because I tell you, it was so funny. I live in Scottsdale, obviously. And so I'm sitting around one night smoking cigars and drinking with my guys. And I'm laughing. They're like, man, Luke Longley, he's not a great player or a really, really good player. I said, he's a good player. They're like, well, he's not playing that great for the Suns. I says, I don't even have to look at the numbers. But number one, he was playing with Michael Jordan. Okay, so his numbers are different. But I'll bet you he's averaging close to the same. He says, what do you mean? I says, yeah, those X amount of points and rebounds he's averaging with Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan's out there, it ain't the same as playing with some guy named Larry over here in Phoenix. So I said, you can't just go by the numbers. And I think that's what happened to a lot of college players when they take the money to move to a better conference, and they're like, ooh, there's a big difference in this conference. And but guys don't even think about that. Like, this. College golf, well, first of all, high school golf, I had to learn this. High school shape ain't college shape. Like, you probably had to learn I'm really good in high school. When I go to college, I'm playing against better players. When I go to PGA Tour or I go to the Korn Ferry Tour, I'm playing against good players. And I go to PGA Tour and get playing against better players. So guys don't even understand that. They're like, I'm a good player. Yeah, you are a good player, but there are levels to this, and you have to figure it out.
You definitely do. And as we I want to get your just career when it comes to TV, Charles, because you've been long respected as one of the best analysts in the game, and you really do it your own unique way. And when you got into the TV business, Charles, was it easy for you to quickly just be yourself, or did somebody want you to try to be somebody you weren't in those first couple of years?
No, it's interesting. I think the one thing that sucks about my job is when I have to criticize players, because I'm always a player at heart, but that goes with the job, and you find that out right now.
Totally.
The guy who not hired me, who talked to me about television is a guy named Dick Ebersol. He says, hey, what do you think about TV? You retire. You only got a couple years left. I says, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I retire. He says, I think you would be great on television because I see how you handle the press. You're just a straight shooter. He says, I think you'll be great on television. He says, you're always going to be in trouble, but you're going to be great. And I said, what the hell does that mean? He said, Charles, when people tell you they want honesty, they really don't want honesty. They want you to repeat if they agree with you. I said, what? He says, yeah, he said, people say they want honesty, but they don't. He said, and fans definitely don't want honesty. Fans want two things, Smylie. Tell me my favorite player is great. Tell me my team is a contender. Yep. And if you don't say those things, they hate you. But he says, hey, man, just be a straight shooter. And even people who don't like me or disagree with me, at least they say, hey, you know what? I don't like you or I don't agree with you, but I know you're not just saying stuff to get clicks. And I truly mean that because I think television is so powerful. People believe what you say, so you have to be honest. And we got a bunch of guys in our business who are full of who just do clickbait, trying to get follows and things like that. And it really drives me crazy because I would never want to disappoint the public where I just did something for money. I would never do that because I think it's just too powerful being on television. Because I always say this, there's somebody in Maine, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, they might be watching me. And what I say about a player, they're going to believe it most of the time. And I would never want to say something just because I was trying to get people to watch my TV show, watch my radio show, or come at me online. So I take it very serious. Like I say, that does not mean I'm right or perfect all the time, but I want to try to be as honest as possible.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
So the other question I have for you, Chuck, here is that the chemistry that you guys have on Inside the NBA, which, by the way, congrats on an incredible run to over 25 years on TNT, moving to ESPN for this season. But you can't fake the chemistry. And I'm curious from your standpoint, when did you feel like you four as a unit that you started to say, like, man, this could really be something special? Was it day one, or was it a year or two in? You know, when did that light bulb kind of go off for you?
It takes a while, because you have to understand. So it was when I started, it was just me. It was Kenny and Ernie. So it took me a while to figure out my thing. And I think we probably did 15 years, maybe 17 years, maybe not that long, 12 or 13 years together. Then Shaq came in, then there's another adjustment. So there's always an adjustment period.
Right.
But so there's two things that are important. Only two things that are important. The games are the first and foremost important thing. The second thing is make sure people are having fun watching, because I don't think people understand. We're on from 7 o'clock to 2 in the morning. That's a long freaking time. and nobody want to watch basketball that long. Nobody want to watch basketball from 7 to 2 in the morning. Like, I love basketball, but I don't want to watch basketball from 7 to 2 in the morning. So I try to say, if there's a dude there with his wife, or a dude there with his girlfriend, hopefully a dude there with his son at some point, or even his daughter who likes basketball, I want to make sure the woman, the girlfriend, and the kids, because, you know, most dads, like my grandson says to me, my big papa is weird. He just watches golf, football, and basketball, because that's all I'm going to watch. My grandson said that to me. My daughter sends me a video one day. He says, "You're going to go spend a day with Big Pop." And he says, "Wow." And my daughter says, she's taping the whole thing. He says, "He's weird." And he said, "Why do you say that? We have to watch golf, basketball, and football. That's all we watch." And I was like, that's true. And so to get
that's
back.
Me too.
That's it. The thing is, so I'm hoping that somebody's sitting home with one of their people, like, hey, let's just have fun. But there's always adjustment period when you bring somebody new into the mix. Me and Ernie and Kenny went through it, and then when we brought on Shaq. The only problem with Shaq was, Smylie, the first show, Shaq does something crazy. The second show, Shaq does something crazy. The third show, Shaq does something crazy. We're only 3 weeks into the season. It's still October. We have to have a team meetings like, yo, man, what are you doing? He's like, I want to entertain people. I know we want to entertain people, but we're just on show 3. We got 7 more months to go. He's like, what do you mean? We can't keep doing crazy stuff every night. The joke, Smiley, became, so we had a meeting like, yo, man, you got to calm down. It's like we're still in October. We don't finish until June. So what the joke became, our producer said, how many shows do you think we get? We're probably about 6 shows before he sets himself on fire. And that became like the joke. Like, yeah, how many shows before he sets himself on fire? And we started laughing. We told him, like, at the rate you're going, we're about 6 shows before you set yourself on fire. And we're like, yo, man, we're not trying to keep escalating. It's impossible to go crazy for all these months. And but the thing is, we hope. I said, we hope that the game, like go back to my original point, we hope the games are great. Because let me tell you something, there's nothing There's nothing here than 2 bad basketball games from 7 to 2 in the morning. There's nothing worse. Like,
because you got to find something to talk about.
Oh my, Smiley, I said we go from 7 to 2 in the morning. When you have 2 bad games, it's like we've been on for like 12 hours straight. And we're like, what can we do to make people stay watching? That's really the only time we get together. Like, what can we do to something stupid and fun? What can we do stupid and fun? Because, like I say, when you own that long and you have 2 bad games, it is the longest night ever.
Right, because you'd rather just be an analyst. You just want to break down it's what you love to do. You love to talk basketball. There's
nothing better when
the stuff that you'd rather talk about.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better when it's 2 good games. I mean, there's absolutely nothing better when there's 2 good games. But there's nothing ever worse when it's damn 2 bad games.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, yeah. I'm not. Listen, we thanked them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards.
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
When the game is on the line and provide the kill shot to knock out an opponent. It's like they're afraid to put the Buffalo Bills away. The safer call was giving it to Derrick Henry and giving it to Lamar Jackson on the ground as opposed to putting it in your MVP's hands and allowing him to make plays in the passing attack. I just don't understand it.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
To your point, Greg, if anybody else is able to make a dent, it'll have to happen now. ESPN has had about 3% market share. Their goal is to get to 10% by next year. So if they can't make a big push this year and really see a lot of the new features that they put on their apps, a lot of the integrations with ESPN fantasy products, with ESPN flagship products across the board, if those don't pay off soon this football season, it might be curtains for them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Chuck, is it going to be weird though when you go back and watch your show or see highlights from your show and you see ESPN, on the bottom ticker? Is that going to be something that's going to be different for you? Because, you had to have a lot of pride with your show being on TNT for so many years. And I'm sure that there was times where you'd look at the opponents, their post-game shows over at ESPN and thinking, man, they can't hold a candle to what we can do. And now all of a sudden you got ESPN on your bottom ticker of your show.
Yeah, there is some trepidation and nervousness for several reasons. Number one, it's going to be totally new, but and there's been a really lack of communications from everybody, because I don't think nobody know what's going to happen, to be honest. So, the best part of our show is like that 45 minutes to an hour, we get to go crazy after the game. That's the best part of our show. Our question, in which we haven't got an answer for, is, do we have to go right to Sports Center? Or when we on ABC, do we go right to local? Those are two important questions that we actually getting together in about 2 weeks, and going to finally sit down with ESPN face to face and says, hey, can y'all tell us how this thing is going to work? Because I've talked to some of their people. They're like, sometimes we get like 3 minutes. They're like, we got to go local. We got to go to the local affiliate. So that's it. You got 2 to 3 minutes. I'm like, we can't even discuss what happened in the game in 2 to 3 minutes. We're stuck. Or they're like, you got 7 minutes or 10 minutes, then you got to go to Sports Center. To me, that would really hurt our show, because you can't really tell what happened in a game in 2 or 3 minutes. Like, I like to explain what happened, but good coaching. I think the coach made a mistake. The player made a mistake here. And so it's all going to be new. But to answer your question, yeah, it's going to be weird. But the weirdest thing is like, yo, man, do we have to go right to local news right now? Or do we have to go right to Sports Center? How much time do we have after the game to actually talk basketball? So that's when we had some of our best communications. But we don't know. Well, like I said, we're going to get together. I think it's the 24th. They sent us out a mass email, say, hey, can you guys be in Atlanta? ESPN is going to come down and want to explain everything. I'm so sure, let's do it.
Did you consider retiring through all this? You did?
Well, I did for a couple of reasons. The reason I didn't retire, we got to keep everybody hired. The last year really sucked for me, Smylie, to be honest with you, because, I've always lived in a fantasy world. Well, I've been around rich jocks and my friends. But to be around people who talk about their mortgage, having their kids have to switch schools, it was really painful because, I've known these people for 25 years and we never thought we were going to lose the NBA. But to be around my friends and having them say, yo, I got to find a job because I got to worry about my mortgage. I'm about to send my kids to a different school. That was really painful for me and Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq, because we would have been fine. So in my mind, I had decided to okay, I don't know if I want to do this. And me and Ernie are always stepping together. And then when this opportunity came up, because I met with NBC and Amazon, and even if I went to one of those networks, I would have a whole new team more than likely. So I was concerned about that. And then all of a sudden, this thing with ESPN came up, and I was like, wait a minute, we can keep 200 people jobs who I really like and admire. Let's do it. And Ernie and Kenny and Shaq were like, yeah. Because all three of us probably would have, all four of us would have got hired. Ernie would have, I don't know if Ernie would have went to another network. I can't answer for him. But we all had, I definitely had opportunities. But to keep the people at Turner employed, that to me was the selling point. So yes, retirement was first on my list. But like I say, if I go to Amazon or NBC, I got a whole new crew.
Sure.
And I didn't know how that was going to work. But as long as I got everybody to stay employed, man, I was happy with that.
And it's, of course, it's a business from NBA's perspective with all the different networks that want a piece of the NBA rights. But still, are you a little bit upset with the NBA and maybe not finding a way to keep NBA on TNT?
100%. They just went for the money. They just went for the money. And listen, I understand. We're in the money-making business. I was disappointed. They just took the money. But I think one of the things they underestimated, and they're going to have to think about, how are these fans, which I know they don't give a about the fans. They just, as long as the owners and the players making money, they don't care about the fans. They got to find a way where these fans can find these games. You know, because I know certain nights they're going to be on NBC, certain nights they're going to be on Peacock, they're going to be on ESPN a couple nights, they're going to be on Amazon a couple nights. You should never disrespect your fans. And I think it's going to be interesting how fans going to find the games. Because, you know, they've been on the same nights for 40 years. Starting next year, I think ESPN still got Wednesday and Friday, but the other one's going to be on NBC and Amazon, and I'm not sure what nights. So you're going to have to be a diehard fan
to find the games.
And then I know NBC is going to split them with Peacock, which is another thing. So I think we have disrespected the fans, but I understand Adam Silver, who I admire and respect, he has to take the most money because the players don't give a the owners don't give a want the most money possible.
Yeah, and I can understand that too. And I told you we were going to talk a little bit golf, so let's do a soft transition over to the golf and keep your analyst hat on because you've been a part of many renditions of the match on TNT. And I think there's been 8 to 9 at this point. You played in one and been on the broadcast for most other ones. So I have to ask, a lot of people want you to be calling a lot of golf. They love your honesty, and sometimes we don't quite get that full of honesty in the game of golf. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how your experience has been sitting next to Ernie, sitting next to a legend in Trevor Immelman from a player and a broadcast standpoint, and some of your favorite memories from those matches?
You know, Smylie, I have the same philosophy when I do basketball. Hey, man, make sure the fans are having fun. You know, Ernie makes fun of me. I said the same thing before every show, like when they count down like 10, I said about 5. I said, remember, guys, it's just basketball. We're not saving the world. I said the same thing before every show. And when I do the golf match, I said, guys, it's just off. We're not saving the world. And I truly mean that sincerely. I actually always try to make sure people at home are having a good time because I'm pretty sure all the NBA players are rich. I'm pretty sure all the golfers are rich if they're in the match. I don't think they care who wins. They're probably getting a ton of money from their charity and a ton of money from appearing. So I want to make sure that the fan is having a good time. And I really mean it. I love golf. Golf is, to me, first of all, it's one of the few places you can get peace and quiet. Let's first get that out the way. I tell people, they're like, why do you play so much golf? I said, yeah, when I go shopping, people ask me why I'm at the supermarket. Well, I just came here to talk to you. I was saying to myself, I had nothing to do today. I just want to come here. Like when I go to the dry cleaner, like, what are you doing here? I said, you know what? I just came to the dry cleaner because I know for a fact that I know people want to talk to me at the dry cleaner. So for me, golf is, man, it's like therapy. I love to go out there with 3 of my friends, slap the ball around. I love to walk. You know, I live in Philadelphia during the summer. Like living in Arizona, you have to drive all the time. I play golf every day for the last 3 months, basically. I love walking. I love being in the middle of all those big old trees. You play with 3 of your friends, and man, you just have a blast. There's a lot of trash talking.
It sure is.
We all know nothing nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Johnny, then you don't believe in face recognition, do you? Because I can assure you. Oh, yes, they do. They absolutely do. They will find that guy in a heartbeat. And by the way, why would you want to go to Vegas? You want to talk about facial red? They won't let you step in a casino. They won't let you step anywhere in
The
there.
Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
We see LeBron now starting to play a little bit of golf too. He was the one NBA guy that's, we've had Steph and all these players over the years, Michael Jordan, getting into the game of golf, and now LeBron's got the bug.
Let me tell you something. I don't know what took LeBron so much. I'll say this, Smiley. Golf to me is interesting. Golf is probably the most addictive thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I got tired of playing basketball. I needed a mental break when the season was over. Like, because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And like, some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn, how the hell I shoot an 80? I shot an 80 yesterday. Then now I'm like, man, I shot 92 today. But it's just so awesome. Like, I just got back. Me and the boys, we had a boys trip to Whistling Straits this weekend.
Ah, how was it?
Oh, it was amazing. We played the Irish. We played the Irish one day and Straits one day. Then we played Black Wolf Run a couple days. We do it. We go twice a year. We go at the beginning of the summer and go at the end of the summer. One of my friends, Jason's a member up there. And, man, we had 4 days of just unbelievable golf, great food, a lot of drinking.
Wait, Charles,
you know what's weird about Wisconsin? Why is that the only place you eat brats?
I don't know. I mean, Germany's the only other place where if I'm going to eat brats, it would
I
be
get
over
so
there.
excited at the turn every day to get a brats. And the brats is unbelievable, but you never eat brats. I never get brats in Alabama or Arizona. But
it's Conecuh sausage here.
Yeah. That's some good sausage. They had that. Me and Bruce Pearl have a golf tournament every year at Auburn to raise money for the program. And that Conecuh sausage on one hole, that's the slowest hole ever because everybody's sitting there chomping for like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, that Conecuh is unbelievable. Throw a little pimento cheese and a little pickle on a little cracker. It's the best little game day snack. And I was about to ask you this, Charles. So you're talking Whistling Straits and golf trips, and I'm sure you've played a lot of places. And is there any golf course that's currently on the top of your bucket list that you're trying to play right now? What's at the top? Where do you want to play?
Well, my favorite golf course is probably Saucon Valley. It's about an hour outside of Philly. They got 3 golf courses. They played the men's senior open and the women's open probably twice in the last 6 or 7 years there. They got 3 courses. My favorite is probably Way Hill, but the old course and the gray course Grace, excuse me, are fantastic. I'll tell you this, and he's probably going to get pissed, but I don't care. He can't beat me. Peyton Manning is a great dude. He calls me a few months back. He says, hey, you want to go play Augusta? I'm like, yeah, let's go. And he's like, I haven't told you the dates yet. I says, I don't give a whatever I got planned, I'm going to Augusta. So he invites me and Grant Hill and Dwayne Wade, and we play. This is like 2 weeks before the Masters. 2 of the best days of my life.
Wow.
2 of the best days of my life, Smylie. Because I played one other time, but it was kind of like late, and it wasn't in perfect shape. It was still good, but it wasn't in perfect shape. But this was 2 weeks before the Masters. Man, that was one of the great experiences of my life. We stayed on the property. So shout out to the great Peyton Manning. And if he do it again, count me in, Peyton. But he took me and Dwayne Wade and Grant Hill, and we're like, yo, if we die tomorrow, it'd be a good way to go. Playing Augusta for 2 days. We stayed on the property. It was incredible, man. It was incredible. I played Pebble Beach. I don't like Pebble Beach, to be honest with you, because I hate taking 3 layers of clothing. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But like when you start out in the morning, it's cold. Then you have to take off all your layers. Then you have to put them back on. I hate all that. I mean, it's beautiful scenery, but I'm a warm weather golfer, man. I'm a puss deep down. I do not want cold, wind, or rain.
You sweat a bunch too. I've had you on our desk in Reno, Tahoe for the American Century Classic. I don't know if who sweats more between you and Tiger Woods.
Well, Tiger sweat because he's in shape. I sweat because I'm out of shape. Those are two different. Like he's probably, he's in great shape, and he drinks a lot of water, so it's just coming out. I sweat because I'm fat. So there's a huge difference. His is hydration sweat. Mine is fat sweat. Those are two different things.
Hey, I'm proud of both. Charles.
Yes.
Oh gosh, man, that's too good. Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Tiger's the best player. I played with Tiger probably 15 to 20 times. He's the best.
What about the best round? Did he have the best round you've ever witnessed?
He always played great. It was amazing. Like it was the most talented golfer I ever played with is Phil Mickelson. There's nobody ever played golf had more talent than Phil Mickelson. Tiger is the hardest working golfer I've ever seen. Like I would call him sometime in the morning, and he was hitting balls. I said, I'll call you back later. And I called him back like 5 hours later. He was still hitting balls. I was like, damn. I said, you're supposed to hit balls for like an hour or two. That's it, max. But Tiger's the greatest golfer I've ever seen. But the most talented golfer I've ever been around is Phil. There's nobody had more talent than Phil. He was incredible. What's crazy, I met Phil because Amy, his wife, danced for the Suns when I played. And I tell you a funny story. I just got traded to Phoenix, and I didn't know Amy at the time. And Amy says, hey, I get to know her and just hanging out. She said, would you play golf with my boyfriend one day? I'm like, sure. Just thinking like blowing it off. Just trying to deflect. I didn't know it was Phil Mickelson. So this goes on for like 3 to 4 months. And every time I say, I'm going to get around to playing golf with your boyfriend. And finally, about 4 months in, and she says, oh, my boyfriend's playing this week on tour. I'm like, tour? I thought he said he was in college. Yeah, he gets some exemptions. I said, what's your boyfriend's name? He says, Phil Mickelson. I'm like, what?
Let's go tomorrow. What time are we playing tomorrow?
You should have told me that 3 months ago. And I said, oh, we're playing next week. And I said, Amy, start the conversation with my boyfriend's Phil Mickelson. Don't just start the conversation with Joe. I don't want to play with some random dude.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, yeah. I'm not. Listen, we thank them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards. You know,
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
But start the conversation with my boyfriend Phil Mickelson want to play golf with you. Every time I saw Phil out there, I was like, yo, man, tell Amy to start the conversation with my boyfriend Phil Mickelson want to play golf with you. I thought you was some random dude. I didn't want to play golf with some random dude.
Man, oh man. Hey, did when you left these rounds, I know you're a player that has had, you know, there are ups and downs in the game of golf. We've all seen the videos of where you've got the little hitch in your golf swing. Somebody like Phil Mickelson, a very, very smart individual, can help a lot of players that he watches and plays with. Did Phil ever give you tips when you played with him during those years and your work with Stan Utley? Kind of want to get into that, Charles, and just kind of what made you get through your hurdles in the game of golf?
You know, be honest with you, nothing got me through it. I had pretty much quit Smylie. I only played in charity events because it was no fun playing. I'm not gonna get on here and lie. Even though I get to smoke a couple cigars. As long as I smoke a couple cigars, I'm good. But it was not a lot of fun for probably 20 years. I mean, I had the yips, basically. It sucked. I got down to playing with Tahoe, and I played with a couple charity events, and that was it. For friends. I'd embarrass myself for friends. And so I was at Tom Lehman's tournament, and Stan, who's the best dude you ever got to meet, says, hey, Chuck, would you give me a chance to work with you? I said, Stan, I pretty much gave up. I just can't get this. I got the block. It ain't fun. I've tried the Hank thing. I've taken lessons from everybody in the world. He's like, just give me a chance. And I said, I'm going to pass, but thank you. And finally, he was persistent. I said, you know what, Stan? Can't hurt. And Smylie is one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I love that guy. And we got together. He says, first of all, he said, you're a puss, I think, deep down. I said, why you say I'm a puss, Stan? He said, you won't play golf. I said, what do you mean? He says, we can't hit balls all these hours without going to the golf course. He said, Charles, you're scared to play golf. You're a puss. He says, there's no water, there's no trees on this range. I said, what? He says, we're going to go play golf. And Smylie, I'm not going to lie, it was like I got great coaching like I had in the NBA from some great coaches. I've had some shit coaches too. Let's get that out the way. But that was probably a turning point for me as a player. He says, we're going to go play golf. We're going to go to the back nine. We're going to play 9 holes. There's going to be water on the left. There's going to be water on the right. There's going to be trees. And he says, I just want you to think about one thing. Don't worry about anything else. He says, just work what I'm trying. It's like, I want you to swing the club, but think about one thing. Because I was mentally paralyzed. When I was standing over the ball, I was thinking about, I had like 5 coaches talking to me at the same time. Like, what did this coach say?
Charles, I've been there. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. I've seen, 6 to 7, 8 golf coaches, and I've had the same thoughts over the golf on. And you're talking to somebody who was blessed with a lot of talent to play the game at a very, very high level.
You can't have all those voices. And that's what Stan said. He used to say, hey, screw all those other coaches. They're all good coaches. He said, I just want you to think about one thing. And, man, I started hitting. It took me a while, probably 6 months or 7 months. But now, anytime I play golf, I feel like I'm gonna have a decent round. But man, Stan Utley, but he's the best at simplifying. He says, don't worry about trying to swing like this guy. First of all those guys out there, they tiny. You're a big old dude. He says, you can't get in the position Tiger, Rory, Justin Thomas. Those guys are this tall. You're never gonna be as flexible as them. You got a lot more leverage and anti-leverage. Like, you got a lot of more moving parts in those dudes. And he says, just think about the one thing we're working on. And man, he's unbelievable.
That's awesome.
I mean, he's
man.
unbelievable.
Nothing makes me more proud when you show up on the 17th hole at Tahoe and you're having a good day. Like, I think you hold out for the first time this year. What was that on the second hole at Tahoe? You spun it back into the hole. I mean, you've had some incredible moments over the last couple of years. You're actually starting to have highlights when you come to the 17th hole, which is fun.
Well, let's don't put an S on that. It's highlight.
Highlight.
It's not highlight.
No, we had 2 because you stuffed it on 16. You hit one in there close.
You know what? I feel really good. I played with the great Gary Player last week. He's been a great friend.
Why was that match out on Golf Channel? I would have watched you, Gary Player and Charles Barkley mic'd up playing golf. That's what people need to see for the match.
Joe, I tell you what, he has become a friend the last 2 or 3. His daughter lives in Philly, and what a great man. He's turning 90 like in the next week or so. He hit every fairway. I mean, it was amazing to watch.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
College football can't allow Notre Dame to have the type of, year they have and schedule they have, and honestly put them up against other teams. Because Notre Dame looks like they're going to be a decent football team. They could lose, I think, next week to Texas A&M, Joe. Right. I don't think it's a great football team, but still a ranked team. And then run the table and still be in the playoff and absolutely beat nobody. The worst schedule they've ever seen in college football is Notre Dame this year.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Quarterback or coach has to answer for it.
Right.
Goff, Campbell. Listen, I'm not firing Dan Campbell already. I might be shipping Goff. I don't know, but I think the Lions. Again, it's week 1. Are we overreacting? I think the panic meter in Detroit is blaring. I think people are wondering, when do the Pistons start?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.